Savage here. Welcome to another Tuesday morning interview. Everybody on this call, we are all committed to being among the most successful, most professional loan officers in the country. Every time we do a survey, and we're currently analyzing the stats from last year, 34% of the top 1% use MortgageCoach. Again, my name is Dave Savage, CEO, and I'm always looking for great people to interview, so it's a big honor. Got two amazing guests today. Coach Mike White, who, gosh, Mike, I don't know how many times. Has it been like 5 or 6 times you've been a guest on our Tuesday call?
Yeah, I think so. It's been quite an experience, and it's, what the great part about this is, I manage to learn stuff every time that I do it, so it's always enjoyable to be here, and I thank you for the opportunity.
Well, it's good to have you. Every time I'm on the call with you, I also get a lot of great ideas. And folks, if you've never listened to Mike White and I have a conversation, I recommend you look at some of them. I'm going to showcase a few of the highlights of interviews we've done in the past, but again, I'm expecting a great interview. And then today, I've got the honor to have you for the first time, Terri. We've met a number of times out in the field, whether it's sharing a stage or just at an event. And then I know you big time by reputation. So it's great to have you, and thanks for making time.
Oh, I'm just so honored to be here, and thank you so much. I have a passion for connecting the realtor to the loan professional for years, and so this is a great opportunity to have some impact on how and why that works.
Yeah, well, it's great. It's great to have a coach of loan officers and a coach of realtors all in the same call, talking about how we can better partner. So I'm excited about where this conversation goes. I want to remind everybody that we record these calls. And if you don't already, make sure you subscribe to our YouTube station. Not only will this call be in the Tuesday interview section, if you go to our homepage, you can see the all-time favorites. You can see the real-world scripts that I've been doing. I'm actually interviewing Jay Crowell this afternoon, top loan officer from the Seattle market, and in addition to tutorials. So check that out. Make sure, if you haven't watched a number of our all-time bests, make sure you check those out. And then again, the Tuesday call. So one 5-minute video that I want to make sure everybody that comes to our Tuesday call checks out right now is this video I did last Friday with the RE Source crew. So RC and Ryan Hill up in the Seattle Tacoma market. Awesome video. It's 5 minutes and 46 seconds. And in that 5 minutes and 45 seconds, I thought we did a pretty good job of netting out the dual market opportunity. If you don't know what I mean when I say dual market opportunity, there's a couple great videos. I'm not going to do that in today's call. All I would say is it's a big idea for you to help agents get more listings. So great idea to bring to your realtors, and it's a great strategy to help you get more move-up listings. Mike, in about 2 or 3 minutes, as I go through some of the reminders from last week, I'm going to ask you just to speak on the strategy real quick. So before we get into the official interview, if you could be ready for that.
Sure thing.
But the thing I want to make sure everybody's doing is that you can have that move-up conversation, that dual market conversation, and you can use your mobile device. Make sure that you're able to have that conversation with both agents and families to drive urgency, to get them to understand the opportunity at hand. Last week, I interviewed 3 top professionals. All of them were among the top 1%. Danny, on the far right, was the number 5 loan officer in America. So I do want to start with Dan, because after that call with Dan last week, here's Dan taking action, where he actually put a Facebook post up talking about the move-up buyer strategy. He put a link to a MortgageCoach total cost analysis report. So I wanted to showcase this because it's just a great example of, hey, we talked about an idea last week. Here it's being executed in the market. Dan Keller, great job, brother. And then Bill Black. Bill was on that call last week, and great example of Bill talking about the dual market opportunity and how someone could sell in one marketplace, which is the upper end of the lower end, and then buy in the lower end of the high end. So you could sell in a seller's market, buy in a buyer's market. Great job, Bill Black, for taking action. Also, we're going to be getting an update from Danny. Danny, again, number 5 loan officer in America. He's actually meeting with 3 big realtors later this afternoon. He's going to report the stats where he's talking about the dual market opportunity. He's talking about the move-up analysis. So we'll bring back some of the results from Danny from last week. And then, of course, we had Kelly Zitlow. So last week's call was awesome. If you missed it, make sure you check it out. So, Coach Mike, any comments on the dual market opportunity or the Mortgage Coach move-up analysis before we get into the power partnership interview?
Well, Dave, I think you touch on some key pieces here that we often take for granted, and I really hope if anybody can take anything out of this call right now, it's to pay attention to what Dave is sharing with you and some of the words that Terri and I will bring to the table. If you're working with your realtors and it's not a real relationship, if you're not finding out where their pain is, if you're not finding out where their markets lie, those slides are great, but how many of us who are on this call right now who are watching that video last week or who will see it in the future are actually going to take the time to sit down with their realtor referral partners and find out what the real numbers are in their market? As Dave, you and I spoke before, not all markets are the same. Some markets have voids in different locations, but you can always find them. All markets are not always tight, as if the first-time home buyer, that $100,000 house is the entry point, because in some markets the entry point's a $400,000 house. In other markets, the top end may be the busiest activity and may be drawing the market up if you know how to feed it. So I think these are powerful tools, and I think the move-up, strategy is really important. And I think the tools through Mortgage Coach that can show the math, and again, not everybody's interested in all the math, but being able to have it on hand, being able to show somebody, whether it be on a laptop, whether it be on an iPad, whether it be on your phone. It's like the old expression, I'd rather have it and not need it than need it and not have it. These are all tools and strategies that you need to be prepared for, because I'm telling you, here's the beauty about the Mortgage Coach call, and this is from a purely personal standpoint. The best of the best people in the industry are on these calls, listening to these calls, and collecting information. You can look at the people who have appeared on these calls, you can look at the people who use Mortgage Coach, and you can readily agree that the best of the best in the industry are all connected here. And there are going to be people on these calls every week that learn something or see something that they didn't know before. And if the best of the best are learning and seeing, as you've just seen Dave point out, with people who are top producers who immediately took the plan into action, they didn't know about that strategy a week ago, but now they're using it. And that's what I hope you take away from today and every day, is that we're bringing along something that you can have your aha moment, because it's not the big things that make top producers top producers. It's mastering the little things and doing it consistently over time that makes it work.
Boom. By the way, that was powerful. Mastering the little things and doing them consistently is what works. So love that, Mike. So folks, like I said, I've done a lot of calls with Coach Mike White. In preparation for this call, I went and did a search in our YouTube channel, under Mike White, and it pulled up a few calls that we've done in the past. So I just want to shine a light that I think the first time I interviewed you, we did that, how to turn prospecting into a game. And I love that. I love that conversation that we had. I thought it was super powerful. We also did, just price to advice. Again, you're a coach. So what were some of the things we did? But the number one most viewed video you and I have ever done is where we did your perfect loan process. And within that conversation, Mike broke down 12 steps that just about every loan goes through, 15 milestones, and really just kind of broke it down from a science perspective. What are the 12 steps? What are the 15 milestones? How many man hours or woman hours are you spending on every loan? And let's just be smart about that. And so as we get into this power partnerships conversation, we're gonna be talking about how the loan officer and the realtor just operate better to prospect better together, to sell better together, and then to deliver an amazing home buyer experience. So with that said, the only thing different here is we've added Terri to the mix. So Terri and Mike, let's get into your power partnerships conversation. I'm going to hand off the screen to you, Terri, and I'll let you and Mike decide who's going to go first, in sharing. Let's have a conversational presentation with the Mortgage Coach community. And everybody on this call, if you do have questions for Mike or Terri throughout the call, post them in the GoToMeeting question area, and I'll bring them into the conversation as we go.
No,
Thanks,
thank
Dave.
you.
We really appreciate it. And just to set the groundwork, Terri and I have known each other for a really long time, and we have both hit on a common thread about the relationship between the realtor and the lender. And what we have done over the last 20 plus years is really look at that and go deep with that and help each other work, because we all know that working with realtors is a place that you want to be when it comes to being a loan originator. But do we really work toward and build powerful partnerships with our agents? Is this something that we're doing? Are we looking at our business like a business and saying, how does this relationship work? And we're going to get into some really significant strategies down the road here. But step by step, I want you to look. And the reason Terri is here is because I don't want to just bring this from the mortgage standpoint, telling you that realtors are going to want this information or like this information. Terri is here as somebody who closed more than 100 transactions a year for more than 20 years and now coaches and trains realtors all over the country to tell you that this is what people want. In fact, Terri and I did a joint presentation a couple of weeks ago. Terri was on the road doing another event last week. And the reality of it is, when we talk about these things, you can see the interest, and you can see that people really would rather build significant relationships with other professionals than sit there and just either be begging for business or handing it off to somebody without understanding how it improves the process.
Yeah,
anything you'd like to add before we get started?
Yeah, I just want to say that, doing 100 transactions a year today isn't a big deal, except that I didn't have a team and the interest rates were over 24%. But I didn't know any better, so I didn't care. But here's what I learned, that all of us is smarter than one of us. And that's why I knew that when I worked with my loan originator, we were able to save transactions because the interest rates were going up overnight. And what that means is that you get to learn that you get to be the best at what you do, and you let your lender partner be the best at what they do. So to build a power partnership for your business creates a couple of things. And one of them is that it creates real strong differentiation, number one. You can offer a whole list of services and opportunities and options and strategies to a seller or a buyer that you can't do as a single realtor, even if you have a team. So I think you ought to go into, Mike, what do power partnerships, what can they really do for your bottom line?
I mean, the big part here is understanding how to take all the opportunities that are in the deal. How do we identify and grow these relationships between realtors? How do we build this relationships? And most importantly, as we're seeing more recently, how do we do it in a compliant manner so that we're not being challenged from a legal position? Because many of the strategies of the past may or may not hold up over time when it comes to all the different legal challenges that there may be. So what we're going to share with you today is we're going to talk a little bit about these things and show you the why, and then give you tools that you can use using tools that you already have, like Mortgage Coach, to enhance that relationship and maybe use Mortgage Coach, the tool, in ways that you haven't used before. And again, you've already got the tool. Are you using it to its capability? And I'm sure a couple of times today, you're going to see some things that you can do that you've never done before, that you can do right away, that'll generate more opportunities.
Yeah, and Michael, I just want to state here that I never in my career wanted the lender to be there to support and just like on a financial level or a convenience level. This is a comprehensive relationship. This is as important. This is picking a business partner. So you want to look to identify both the powerful strategies that you can do together to create and write this down, a higher experience for your consumer. That's why you're doing this. The lender provides one part of the equation, the realtor the other, and together that creates an unmatchable service option for that consumer. And that's why we want to do that, and it does not have anything to do with crossing the lines of legality. So I think that's an important distinction, don't you agree? Because compliance is an issue.
Well, and the more that we see this, the more it becomes important to have the conversation about compliance, about the rules and the regulations, and making sure that we're clear, because let's be honest, there are loan officers and realtors who are out there right now who don't know that they're doing things that are potentially in violation of the law. There are things that they're doing out there right now that they may or may not understand could violate something that either RESPA or the CFPB or the NMLS may have an issue with. And let's be honest, okay, there's a lot of people who freaked out once the CFPB started finding realtors and real estate companies as well as mortgage people for the way they're interacting. And most recently, the article that appeared where now an examiner for the CFPB has made a determination that they feel that buying leads in any capacity is a violation of RESPA. Well, let's look at these things. These MSA agreements, desk rentals, the buying of leads are all now subject to possible potential interpretation of what may be non-compliant. And is that really what we want our business to be? Do we want to sit here and wonder about whether or not we're doing things that may be in violation of law or risk our referral partners in some way? So my point is I try to avoid at all costs going down any path that can become a slippery slope. And so what we try to do is follow the spirit of the law that says anything that we do together must have equal input and equal opportunity output or outcomes. And you know what? If you think about this and you look at it, it's really simple to do by doing some common sense things and following some simple strategies.
You know, Mike, that's a really great way to state that. Here's something I just want to state, and I think it's important. Every single entrepreneur, because as you know, we wrote The 1 Minute Entrepreneur, which was a New York Times bestseller. We studied all elements of entrepreneurs. The hardest thing for an entrepreneur to do is to grow their business and work in it and on it. They don't have a good time plan on that. So what happens is when you put together the combination and the support of a lender and a realtor, you can figure out where the pain points really are so that you can provide solutions that are within compliance. And that's what I'm saying is giving a broader service spectrum to that consumer. Agents today, just like anybody in the world, they all want help. I bet you're rolling your eyes right now going, yeah, but there aren't any good agents. Yes, there are. You just have to do the interview and go through the process of selecting the person that's willing to work within the boundaries and the guidelines that you're asking for. And one of the best ways to do that, and believe it or not, most agents don't have a clean, viable, usable database. And I know, Michael, you have a lot to say about that.
Yeah, Terry, I think the most often overlooked piece of both the mortgage and the realtor side of the business is keeping really good track of the people that we've come in contact with, people that we have done work with before, people that we have done great business with and enjoyed the experience of working together. And I think so much has been pushed to the side when it comes to maintaining these databases of people, but having them not just like here we're showing a Rolodex or having names in a database, but what are we doing to nurture that database on an ongoing basis? What do we do to grow that database on an ongoing basis? How do we present value to that database on an ongoing basis so that we become relevant? If you're a mortgage person and all you ever do is talk mortgage to your database, they shut you off. If you're a realtor and all you ever do is talk real estate to your database, they shut you off. You've got to find ways to integrate life into their lives and value into that life. And that way they keep coming back and you keep a presence, that top of the mind awareness of what you are and what you do, because that can make all the difference between going to work and having a job or working and at your career. And I think there's a big differentiation in the two words.
Well, Michael, one of the things that you mentioned earlier, and Dave was so good to profile that for you, is when you talked about how to make prospecting actually a game. And the one thing we did in our Power Partnerships program is that we laid out what you can do every single month to work with the top 50 influencers in your life. And when you have something that's engaging and it's not just calling for referrals, because nobody wants to be hounded for a referral, but we can literally prove that by a once a month touch, you can really create some value and some resources to create a position of being a celebrity authority. You become the brand and the go-to resource. And like Mike said, not just for real estate or mortgage, but for a myriad of things that have to do with life in general. And so we got specific about how to help certain segments. We know that there are a lot of teams today. And Dave, when you have a team, there's buyer agents. And when you have buyer agents, you have a different energy and a different execution as a team leader. So Michael, why don't you go into how buyer agents work with the lender relationship?
Now, we all know, Terry, that most mortgage professionals are really clear on what their plan is. And for those of you, who are here, you're all saying, we all know that we're getting in front of realtors and their buyers agents in many cases. And so part of this has to be, you have to answer some real questions is, can that relationship, can you help them do more business? If you're not doing something that's helping that buyer's agent do more business, then you're failing to fulfill a need. To let that buyer's agent know when a deal is a deal, there's a huge difference between, and we all know this, a pre-qual or a pre-approval, and what does that mean? We have lenders throughout this country who get their deals approved over other lenders because the listing agent knows and trusts and respects the letter that comes with that offer. They know that that mortgage person has done their due diligence and says, you know what, I know that this deal will close because this lender said it will close. Because after all, time is money. And in a volatile rate situation and in a tight market, one of the things I like to tell people, the rate isn't great if the closing is late. If you can't get people to commit that a deal that's supposed to close in 30 days actually closes in 30 days or less, then everybody's making different plans, and that can turn into real money. Sometimes just the ability to close by a specific date under certain terms and conditions is worth more than a higher priced offer that can't guarantee or can't close in that time frame.
Well, Michael, you know that I'm in that position this very minute, right? So we just sold our house, and the closing and everything had to happen. It had to happen. So yeah, for a differentiation point, we don't care. But we started off with talking about how do you help agents and lenders work together, and everybody has this aversion to prospecting, and one of the easiest ways to do that is to leverage the people that you know and the people that can use your services. And Michael, you and I have talked about this for a long time, how to build that referral triangle system. And this is a kind of a thing that if you will just schedule it in your day, once a week, is to make for 15 minutes these calls. Again, you're going to leverage the easy business, the prospecting that comes easily for people who already know, like, and trust you. So Michael, you do a brilliant job of explaining 9s and 10s. I'd like you to do that.
Well, Terry, it's fundamental. We all are working with people, and the world revolves around the three different aspects as to where business comes from. And so whether it's your database and consumer direct marketing piece, well, your database isn't anything if you don't fill it. So what we have to do is first we have to figure out how to fill the database. Now, whether you're a realtor or whether you're a lender, this is all about making all sides of the triangle work with each other. In other words, talking to all the different pieces and then nurturing through value. And again, we're back to that phrase, nurturing through value. And so the 9s and 10s idea is very simple. Everybody that you talk to is a potential referral source of a great referral partner relationship. And all you ever have to do is ask them some simple questions, which, hey, I really value your opinion. I want to ask you a couple of questions. On a scale of 0 to 10, with 0 being I don't have one, to 10 being truly exceptional, how do you feel about your last realtor? How do you feel about your last lender? How do you feel about your accountant, your financial planner, your attorney? And have you had an exceptional experience in this marketplace within the last 6 months? Now, people will answer those questions on a range from 0 to 10. Anything that's an 8 or less becomes a target for you to refer the 9s and 10s that you find. When a client gives you a 9 or a 10 response, you politely ask them for that person's contact information so that you can call them and you can connect with them about how you can refer them to your database of clients that is in need of that consummate professional. And what happens is, by fueling that need, you now have referral partners, the other professionals in your life that you're now feeding to your database. Those realtors or your lender, if you're a realtor, now have being exposed to those other professionals and the information contained in that database. It's a wealth of ongoing value that you can continue to provide for that database over time. And that becomes very significant. Again, when I talk about sharing information on a regular basis, that's not always about mortgage or not always about real estate.
And Michael, I'd like to add that, when people are moving into town, because we had a real strong relocation business in the Chicago area, it was critical to find out other things, on a scale of 1 to 10, how do you like your hairdresser? How do you like your doctor, your attorneys? These are the kinds of things people want to know so that they have a trust base. And that's why I really liked listing, because when you work with listing agents, and I took about 14 listings a month. And I'm telling you that not because I was proud of it, because I was so neurotic. I just loved listing because I preferred working with listings over buyers. It was an economy of time, and it got me a ton of buyers. And here's what I had to do to differentiate it. I worked for a company called Applegate. And we gave away apples at our listing presentations as a little premium. And another Terri was kind of usurping a different company that fact that I would deliver an apple every Saturday as a brand. So I really got into how do I differentiate me as the listing person. I wanted to be the listing leader. And one of the things was getting a support from my lender, because there was a series of touches they would get before I ever even made the appointment. And Michael, we talked about that third-party endorsement letter that arrived in that pre-appointment package long before the appointment.
Yeah, Terri, and in fact, Dave, this would be a great time we can put out there, because we're going to head down the listing path. Let's poll the people that in your group, and let's say, do the people that are on this call, and again, you guys are the best of the best, so let's see what we can find out. Do we have a strategy and a playbook to support our agents with their listings, both in obtaining listings and servicing their listings?
All right, guys.
I put that out there so we can get started with that.
So 25% of you have voted, and everybody that comes to our Tuesday calls, you know how I roll. We need 70% to vote. Let's participate. Also, while we're getting some great questions, would love to know who's implementing database strategies with their agents. Again, I have interviewed the best of the best. I interviewed Wally Elderberry, $100 million producer from Dallas a couple weeks ago in one of our Skype real world interviews. And he was just talking about how he is using the agents database to create urgency with home buyers, to bring home buyers to the agents. I want to know how many folks have a strategy and a playbook to support agents with listings. And by the way, anybody out there who's on this call that you're doing the move up analysis, where you're helping the family understand the economic value of moving up and what the numbers look like over 3 years, 5 years, whatever the time horizons that are important to that family, that's a strategy to support a listing. You know, anybody that's doing the cost of waiting analysis for the family that's kind of on the fence, should I sell now or should I wait till June? That's supporting the agent. So here we go. We got a little over 70%. I'm going to share the results. So there you go. We got 18% said yes, 82% said no. So big opportunity here to drive value. Also, I'm going to put a link in the chat right now. Danny Hirani, you know, with the Gaylord Hanson team out of San Diego, this was an interview from a few years ago, but they had something called the cross-qual strategy. And while it was a 1-hour interview, my team edited that down into a 7-minute quick hit. So I'm going to put a link to a 7-minute quick hit. This is a big strategy of another mortgage coach loan officer that's working with listing agents, working with builders to basically, you know, partner, close more loans, help more families. So I'm going to go ahead and take this down, and Terry and Mike, keep it rocking.
Well,
Hey, Dave, I really appreciate that, because here's what we're going to do. And again, because time is certainly of the essence, we're going to roll through some of these things pretty quickly just to touch on some strategies so that we can get through them quickly and make our time, because we don't want to be late. But know at the very end, we're going to share with you a link that you can go to so that you can go in depth with us on these particular strategies, if any of these or all of these strike a chord, okay? And the point that I want to bring up is 18% have a plan, 82% don't have a plan, and it's been my experience in the past, whatever business you're getting from realtors right now, whatever percentage of your business is realtor referred business, let me throw a number out you that you might want to pay attention to. You are 3 times more likely to get a transaction from the listing side of a realtor's business than you are the buyer side of a realtor's business. So again, 3 times more likely to pick up a transaction from the listing side of a realtor's business than you ever are a buy side. So the next few minutes, we're going to gloss over some strategies. Now, we talked about that third-party endorsement letter.
Time out, Coach Mike White. So for anybody that just heard what Mike said, if you are working with listing agents and you are getting referrals in some type of specific way, please comment in questions and saying, hey, Dave, I'm doing blank. Just give us, I want to get a soundbite. I want to get a feel for who in the Mortgage Coach community is on board and already implementing. I know I kind of asked that question in the poll, but I want to get a little better idea of what are you doing currently to support. So please let us know in questions, and feel free to let us know if you have more questions. Go ahead, Mike.
Cool. So the third-party endorsement is just a simple letter that the agent can send out with you endorsing the fact that they chose that particular realtor to list their property, and going on to let them know the value in the fact that you're there to help them prepare for their next transaction. It's a simple letter. The realtor feels happy with it. The buyer feels, the seller is happy to see it, and it gives you the opportunity to get in front of that particular person to do their next deal. Help us pick your new neighbor. Here's one that, you know, Terry and I will tell you from years, realtors used to do on a regular basis. It used to be called the 10-10-20. But what we found, agents stopped knocking on doors and talking to people, and they started sending out just listed cards. And those just listed cards, you know what happens? People ignore them because it doesn't mean anything to the person that's there. But imagine if you went out there with your realtor and actually flyered the neighborhood and talked to the neighbors about the fact that there was a property listed for sale, and you wanted their help in helping you pick their next neighbor. Terry, you want to share a little bit about that and why realtors will find a value in that particular piece?
Well, let me tell you how rude it is to wake up one day and find a sign in your neighbor's yard, and you don't really know the realtor, and it's sort of like something's happening within your neighborhood because people are very hyper locally focused. And so what I would say is when you do the Help Us Pick Your New Neighbor, you're saying to them, especially the younger generation, I want you to be involved and interactive in how we handle getting you somebody that's going to be in your neighborhood. And boy, I'll tell you what, that's a whole lot better than something self-aggrandizing like, hey mom, I just listed a new house. Help us pick your new neighbor. It works every time. And you know what, Michael, it also goes on for open house strategies as well, because that's also fairly interruptive in a situation. And when you have the opportunity to, instead of just stick a sign in the yard, I mean, open houses are a brilliant opportunity to meet the neighbors, especially when you work with your lender partner on what Mike and I call the sneak peek.
Yeah, Terry, I think the sneak peek is one of those things that's often overlooked, and we have found to be significant in the opportunities. Getting out there and inviting the neighbors surrounding that local property to a special sneak peek of that particular property. It engages the neighbors, it gets them to come out. Every community has that nosy neighbor who's going to call that realtor with 1,000 questions anyway. This way, getting those people engaged, inviting them, reminding them that they have an opportunity, this sets up, again, not only showing the listing, the seller, that you're doing this work, but it gets the realtor and the mortgage professional out in front of that community, talking to those people. And again, now you've got 20 or 30 or 40 or 50 people in that community who are becoming aware of the things that you're doing, many of which nobody else in your market is doing.
Yeah, they also get to meet their lender partners. So it's, again, you get to have the transparency and the actual experience of meeting the people behind the work. And, you know, another specialization, Mike, is first-time home sellers.
Yeah, Terry, I think it's amazing that there's not probably a mortgage person on this call right now that has not heard of a first-time home buyer seminar. I would venture to say that they've all heard of them, and many of them have even done them. But you and I have found out over the last couple of years how impressive it is, the number of people who engage and get interested in a first-time home seller seminar. Well, why is a first-time home seller seminar important? Well, think about it. If somebody's going to be a first-time seller, now you've got a listing and a buy coming in. Instead of working with a first-time home buyer where you've got a one-sided transaction, finding a first-time home seller creates 3 potential transactions. Again, a lot of people running first-time home buyer seminars. How many people in your community are working the first-time home seller to generate listing opportunities and moving people over?
And Michael, the Forever Home Initiative is one of my favorites because in so many of the markets that I've recently been speaking to the agents and the lenders is that there's not enough inventory. I had one that the house was on the market 2 hours. This is a great opportunity to free up some of that, those people that are on the fence, and you call it the Forever Home strategy.
Yeah, Terry, and this is what we've talked about because, again, it changes the conversation about knocking on the door and asking somebody if they're interested in selling. This is where the lender and the realtor can actually do some due diligence. And Dave, I think you touched on it on your move up strategy before, is finding the pockets where there is a need for listings and finding the people who would likely sell to be able to move up to where they could find the benefit of selling into the seller's market and buying into the buyer's market. When you change the verbiage to something as simple as a first-time home, as a forever home strategy, and saying, I just wanted to ask you, the house next door was just listed and it got a contract on it in 2 hours. There are plenty of people that are interested in moving into this neighborhood. I want to ask, are you currently in your forever home? It changes the dynamic of that conversation with that person. It changes the part of the brain that they're using to think about it, and it starts them thinking in the direction of potentially what could they do.
Yeah, and it's so important for us to understand that when we do that, we free up a house, we've got more buyers, it gives us an opportunity to increase the inventory instead of sitting there whining about it. And you also talk about how we can connect with sellers, Mike.
Yeah, and the big thing that we've got to look at is are we reaching out to those sellers? How many of us have made it a part of our business that when a new contract comes in there, we're reaching out to the seller and saying, hey, have you made a decision on who you're using for your next loan? If you haven't, I'd like to apply for the job. And if you have, I'd like to offer you a second opinion. It becomes very popular today to do that. A simple letter that you can send in the mail to that seller, a simple phone call that you can make to that seller. What if you picked up 5 or 10% of your transactions? You picked up the other side of that deal. And let's not forget having that conversation with the listing agent. So many loan officers miss a great opportunity to call that listing agent and have what I call the appraisal talk. Telling that listing agent, hey, look, we don't control the appraisal. We have nothing to do with that process. In fact, it's illegal for us to talk to the appraiser about the value of that property. But you as an agent, make sure that you have the comparables available that you use to negotiate this price so that you can justify it to the appraiser. Because if that appraiser comes in low, we've all wasted a lot of effort. We've all wasted a lot of time. Having that appraisal call is one of the most significant things loan officers can do right away to avoid a problem experience down the road, but get them in the door and contact that listing agent who holds the key potentially to a great relationship and many other opportunities.
Not only that, go ahead.
Guys, can I jump in real quick? So we've had a lot of great engagement in our GoToWebinar control panel and questions. Keep them coming, everybody. Deborah Still, who's in the Seattle market, made a comment that, hey, I'm in a market where properties are selling in 1 to 3 days. So if you don't necessarily have to just answer that, jump on that question, but within the context of supporting listing agents, if you could speak to the fact that, especially in the low end, it's a seller's market. And by the way, Deborah, if you haven't already, make sure you watch that video, that 5-minute video about the dual market, because while in Seattle the lower end is a seller's market, the high end is not. So not all listings are selling in 3 days. So that is one answer to you, Deborah. But Mike and Terri, as you go through this, if you could make sure you speak to that, because so many marketplaces are by and large, properties are selling fast.
Yeah, and that's a good question, Deborah. I'll tell you what I've learned, and one of my coaching clients literally is working with the seniors because they're still in houses that they've paid for, but they're too big, and at some point they have to move. So having that appraisal talk, because they don't even realize the value that's in it and the equity that's there, getting into a forever home, helping them with the process, frees up inventory. So you might want to start target marketing in that area, and that appraisal talk will really work when you bring in the ability to get an appraisal ahead of time so that you got the pricing correctly, because that lower end has to move so that the upper end starts moving. And that forever home strategy is probably one of the best. And one of the best ways to get that out there, of course, is this new thing we call the internet. I got to tell you, what an amazing opportunity for both professionals. Number one, the first one, of course, is LinkedIn, which is a business-to-business channel. And Dave, for the life of me, I can't understand why people are not having a business profile on LinkedIn. So many other professionals are looking for real estate agents and lenders who have a presence and can post some of the great videos that you're putting on MortgageCoach with respects to different things that are happening in the industry. I think that would be a great place to start creating celebrity authority. Mike, do you have any comment on that?
I think you're absolutely right. The celebrity authority place is never stronger than it is on a thing like LinkedIn. The people that those presentations appeal to, many of the people that are on LinkedIn and find LinkedIn useful to them and something that they are connected to in a big degree, tend to be the more analytical people. And so having that information available is huge. Now, obviously, we all know about Facebook, and please, everybody, if you just take 5 minutes to make sure that you listen to the next few words and let them sink in. I don't want you using your family Facebook page, individual stuff, as your business. Facebook has business pages for a reason. Please make sure that you create a business Facebook page, that you make it compliant, you get your license number on there, get the information on there that needs to be on there, because again, I'm not saying that there's been a single mortgage person or a realtor that has gotten into trouble because they have posted content on Facebook. But you don't want to be that first person. They make business pages for a reason. Many of these people don't want to know what you're doing with your kids or with your holiday. And if they're friends of yours, that's great. But from a business standpoint, get people to like your professional Facebook page, get it up there, get your licensing on there, get compliant, because I'm telling you, it's a great place to share information, because billions of times a day, people are going into Facebook and looking at and sharing information. And Dave, I'm sure you know the power since Mortgage Coach has gone with video and been making a presence on Facebook. Your own business has exponentially grown with the number of likes and hits and users, simply because Facebook is a vehicle that lends itself to the Mortgage Coach portal.
This is a great place, by the way, Dave, to have some of those lender video updates to post, and then your realtors can share them, so that you're sharing on a regular basis, maybe once a week, some of the video information that's coming through on Mortgage Coach. Again, video is the #1 engagement platform. As you know, video is the power. It's the power channel, and the reason it's the power channel is because people get to see and experience the real you. It's transparent, and you've got that turnkey system, which would be so easily shareable with other realtors, and for their websites and for their Facebook and LinkedIn. It would be a great way to start making that work, in addition to creating a couple of this is Mike's favorite, are the video business cards and just market updates. I mean, I can see the realtor and the lender doing a market update fairly easily. And Michael, you love those updates and business cards.
Yeah, I think it's important. In fact, Dave, this would be a good part for the other part of the other survey that we had about the video engagement process. Let's poll your people and say, I know many of them are using Mortgage Coach videos. How many of them are using videos with their agent in the sales process? And we can use Mortgage Coach videos or other videos that they're using in that process.
So here we go, guys. Do you use video in the agent sales process? And just to take inventory of the types of videos that have been talked about in just the calls in the past 4 weeks. When I interviewed Chris Smith, the author of The Conversion Code, he talked about, doing Facebook videos. So within the Facebook platform, adding videos. All the time I hear BombBomb, it's a great tool. All the time I'm hearing about loan officers who are creating a video on their mobile phone and just forwarding it via text. And then of course, when it comes to presenting numbers, whether it's a rent versus own, a move up analysis, purchase options, why buy now, putting a video on your total cost analysis is the most compelling way to create urgency and help families make confident decisions. So are you doing that in the realtor sales process? Another big idea that comes up all the time is Mortgage Coach loan officers meet with a realtor, they walk them through one of their strategies, and then they add a video to that after the meeting. So are you doing this, yes or no? Guys, we need 70% of you to vote. So those of you that are holding out, please vote real quick. So here are the answers, you guys. More opportunity for growth. 86% are not, 14% are. So big opportunity, Mike and Terri.
Yeah, well, here's the thing. When we talk about video, it takes, first of all, it's never been easier because everybody has an iPhone of some kind, a smartphone. And they go, well, I don't like the way I look on video. Well, I hate to tell you, but that's how you look. Just practice a little bit. The idea is not to be a movie star, but to be the celebrity authority, to be the resource. Make it short. We've got a whole channel on that on our Power Partnerships, because vlogging, which is blogging only with video, is a great way for you to give some of the reports, the information covering local events, charity events, client appreciation parties, kids back to school. It's not just about mortgage or real estate, but it gives you the opportunity for them to see who you are and to experience you. And one of the other great opportunities there is, I'm sorry if we got that, is the total cost analysis, Mike.
You know, this is, Dave showed me this tool, and when I saw this Go video and, you know, with the Edge program, the first thing I did was make sure every one of my clients was into MortgageCoach, and they were using the MortgageCoach total cost analysis for every one of their realtors' listings. Every time a realtor gets a listing, I want that agent sending it to my loan officer. My loan officer now takes it, does a total cost analysis, and sends them over the video. We send it to the seller so the seller can share it. We post it on Facebook and LinkedIn. The realtor posts it on their Facebook page, and they have that link so that that information is available to even people in the community. Again, you know, MortgageCoach is one of those things, and I'm going to beat it up, and it's not just because, you know, I'm on this call. And let me be honest, Dave will be the first one to tell you, if I don't care how much money somebody would give me, and Dave doesn't give me any money, and I wouldn't promote any product that I didn't think was worth the effort and didn't pay back dividends time after time. The total cost analysis to me is one of the most powerful things that we can have, because it works 24/7, and it gets in front of people so you never have to repeat the conversation. How many of us are speaking to the seller, but there's a husband and a wife, and you speak to the wife because she had a thing, and then the husband calls you back with the same question because they got it wrong? Why are we not providing this total cost analysis to people so they can go back and replay it over and over? You can have a generic copy of a total cost analysis in a particular market just for general informational purposes, so that you can get off the phone if people don't want to give you go through the pre-approval process. Why are you not sending the total cost analysis on specific properties to the seller, to the buyer's accountant, the financial planner, their attorney? Why are you not sending it to the listing agent and the neighbors that are around them? You can text it, you can email it, you can share it. Here's your commercial day. I don't know what the hell to tell you, but if you're not making $150,000 to $200,000 a year using the total cost analysis and expanding your business, you're throwing this out the window, because if you're on this call, you have the technology. So why wouldn't you use it and make the $200,000? Just go do it. And if you don't need the $200,000, write me a check.
Yeah, it's sort of like having a gym membership. You know what I mean? You just don't get thinner by carrying the card. Use the tools.
Real quick, guys. So first of all, Mike, thank you for that. I mean, obviously it's from the heart. And it is true. I mean, we do drive that type of value. I would love it for anyone that is not using video in the realtor sales process, and or is not using the total cost analysis in the way that it's intended. Why not? Just write that down. You know, write it down for yourself. Why not? In order to do something, you got to know why you should do it, but get really clear on why you're not doing it. And anybody who wants to share that with me, because, you know, we're always trying to train you and help you be better, share that in questions so I can see it. Again, it's private. Everyone will not see it. It will just be for me. But we want to know why not. You know, why aren't you doing that? But more importantly, whether you share it with us or not, I want you to do it for yourself. Get super clear on why you're not doing these things. Why are you not doing something you know that's going to make you more money? Anyways, guys, we've got about 7 more minutes. It's all you. And I want to make sure we tell everybody how they can get your playbook. So let's keep it rolling.
Yeah, well, we all know that MortgageCoach is terrific, and just like anything else, like a library or a good book, there are so many tools in there that can help you, as well as what Mike and I put together for Power Partnerships. We just got real clear on how can we help an agent and or a lender work together. And Mike, you said it the best. You know, you got to combine that stickiness.
Because you know when people are looking at it. That's one of the greatest features of the whole process, is the fact that you know when people are looking at that analysis. You have a record that they're going into it. So again, anytime you have a technology that is not only a significant value and performs a function, but you've also got a way of keeping connected to that person and know what they're looking at and what they're doing.
Yeah, and it's really, today's consumer is looking for measurement. They're looking for trackability. As entrepreneurs, whether you're a realtor or loan originator, if you don't measure what you expect, and you have to inspect it, you've got to understand where your money's going and where you make money. And obviously using tools, not all of them. I mean, just don't get all crazy. Use a couple of them really, really well that suits your style and the kind of people that you work with. Would you agree, Michael?
Yep. You know, go be better at less than be great at. Be better at less than be average or mediocre with a lot.
And here's the thing. Michael was generous, and he said, "How can we help people with specificity?" So whether it's the help us pick your new neighbor, or whether it's the open house on steroids, or the 9s and 10s, or a top 50 strategy or video, we want to help you check it out, and you can do it in the next day or so by going to Power Partnerships. Mike, why don't you tell them about the gift you're offering?
Yeah, very simple. There's no sense talking about something if you're not willing to put your money where your mouth is. And so Terry and I have developed the Realtor Lender Power Partnership piece as a very significant tool that both mortgage people and realtors can use to work with each other. And we have just as many mortgage people in the program as we do realtors in the program, because realtors are seeing the value in learning these techniques and working with their lenders. What I decided to do, and what Terry and I are doing, is we're going to give this, everybody who's on this call or anybody who sees this call has the ability to go to our website, which is rlppnow.com, and it'll be up there in a second. And all you have to do is go in there and process, and we've got instructions in here. But Terry, if you go to the instructions page, that we can take a screenshot and send everybody to get their 24-hour pass. Okay, these are the instructions, and I already told Dave where the PowerPoint he's got a copy of. This screenshot you guys can take. These are the instructions step by step on how to get in there for your free. You know, it's an online training academy that Terry and I have built. You can go in there and go as if you're going to order, and as soon as you do, you'll hit the redeem coupon switch, type in the word Savage as your code, and you will have access for 24 hours from the time you click the button. Now, please understand that, you know, we can't leave this open for everybody forever. So there will be a time in the next couple of weeks that we're going to have to shut that password down. But if you go in there, it's going to work for 24 hours from when you open it. Now, if you decide that Power Partnerships is something that you'd like and you'd like to be part of, you can get monthly access for just $39 a month to month. There's no long-term contract. If you want to go back and share it, we want to do it. And all you have to do when you sign in, you follow the same thing, but use the discount code MC39. And that way we'll know it's Mortgage Coach, and you'll only pay $39 a month instead of the $59 a month, and you'll be saving yourself some money and being able to take a look at the strategies, because the reality of this is to get the most out of your tools and create significant relationships, you got to use great strategies with the best technology. And that's why we're here, because we believe that you know, Mortgage Coach is a great tool that is underutilized. I've beaten Dave up for years. He'll tell you. I've yelled at him because, you know, not enough people are using the capacity of this marvelous program, and it drives me crazy when I see people with so many solutions and opportunities to generate more income, and it's sitting right in front of them and they fail to use it. It just boggles my mind. So Dave, from the bottom of my heart, I appreciate the time on the call. I appreciate you allowing me to bring Terry here to give the realtor point of view, and just thanks once again for being a good friend.
No problem. It's an honor to have you guys. Again, I do want to get more answers for those of you that aren't putting videos on things. So if you're not putting a video, just super simple, adding it to your total cost analysis, I want to know why not. And if you're not using video to engage in the sales process with agents, I really want to know. So again, I don't invite anybody to these calls that I don't think just brings tremendous value. And every time I interview Coach Mike, he brings value. Terri, it was an honor having you.
Oh, thank you.
You know, the offer that they made, you know, we put a link to that in the chat. So you've got nothing to lose by just going in, putting in, checking it out for 24 hours. And I always believe the best way I can serve you is bring great guests on these calls. And then anything that they are, you know, sharing with our audience, we believe in it. So also, I had a number of you in terms of why not. I heard people say, because I don't know how. You know, I don't know how to add a video with Mortgage Coach. So I just want to remind you, I mean, if you went to our website and you typed how to add a video, there would be a 5-minute video how to do that. Now, I also had someone weigh in and say, hey, I'm in. I believe in the why, you know, cost of waiting, the buy now. Do you have a playbook for listing agents? So next Tuesday, I'm interviewing Kristen Messerly and Danny Hirani, and it's going to be all about mobile conversations. And I'm going to make sure that we do a bit of a playbook on how to use Mortgage Coach with listing agents. I also want to remind you, every single solitary Wednesday, we're doing a mobile training. So at 11 o'clock tomorrow, and every Wednesday, you've got to sign up for the workshop, but it's a workshop. We'll teach you how to add a video with your mobile device. We'll teach you how to have a conversation with your mobile device with an agent or a buyer. We'll teach you everything that Mortgage Coach can help you do with any of our apps every Wednesday at 11 o'clock. So if you haven't been to it or your production partner hasn't been to it, check it out. So Mike, Terri, thank you so much for the value you brought to today's call. The last survey of the day, we want to know, did we deliver? Did we surpass your expectations with value? If you were a guest on this call and you want to learn more about Mortgage Coach, click the last option. I want to demo and learn more. But let us know how we did. Did we surpass your expectations? Did you get some solid takeaways? Is it worth your time? Let us know. But have a fantastic week, everybody. Hopefully we see a number of you on tomorrow's training. And then one last reminder, every single Thursday we're doing how to do anything and everything in Mortgage Coach. So 9 o'clock Pacific on Thursday, there's just a live workshop. About 100 mortgage coaches show up every week, ask questions. We don't leave until we get them all answered. All right, everybody. That's a wrap. Have a great day, great week, and we'll see you next Tuesday. Thanks again, everybody.
Dave.
Thanks, Dave.